Man, so my change started in prison, right?
Yeah.
I think it happened fast, right? There was a couple of situations that happened to me early in prison, right? It started shaping my mind, like, prison is not the place for you, bro. Like, this is not you, right? So I'm fighting my case at the time, right? And if I would have gotten in trouble in there while fighting my case, bro, they would have threw the book at me, like,
Right.
okay, you ain't learning your lesson, right? So it just really hit me that night, and then my prison time moving forward is like, I can't move how this prison system wants me to move. Like, I have to use my head, right? Yeah,
Right.
I'm like, okay, I can get lost in this shit fast. Like, I want my story to, highlight, like, it's possible, man. Like, anything is possible at this moment. Like, it's a different time, bro. Like, it's no longer you only have, a couple options. It's like a buffet right now. Like,
Yeah.
what you want to do, that idea, that thought that you've been sitting on, like, do it. You know what I'm saying? Do it. What's the worst that could happen, right? That's the message I want to drive home. Is like, look at me, man. Like, within 3 years, I became a firefighter, a videographer. I'm like super involved with my community. I'm shooting a documentary. I'm doing good work, and it's only because, like, I'm just doing the work. Like, there's no other formulas. Like, you do good things happen, right?
Petey,
What's good? Uso Ron. What's up?
finally we got you here, man.
Man, it's a pleasure, man.
So how was the trip up here?
The trip was good, man. This is, I kept hearing you, apologize for the drive, but bro, this ain't nothing but a regular drive to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a road runner, and I've been hitting the road ever since I got out.
That's right. Petey's been out there doing his thing and working with the community, working with the youth out there. And this collaboration right here is just a long time waiting. And I'm happy to be doing this. So, all right, Petey. So it's good to have you here on 30 to Life. I'm very grateful to be speaking with you right now. So why don't you just open up and tell us about where you're from, a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Peter Toilolo. I go by Petey. I'm from Modesto, California. I'm 35 years old right now, and I run a media business called Delivering Media. I'm a big advocate for our community, our people, and our youth.
That's right. That's right.
I want to just kind of set the stage real quick before we start. I want to, basically set the stage to say, to all my victims, to everybody I've wronged, my family, the all my actions and my decisions that I made in the past, like, I really regret. And, the best apology is how I'm living now, right? So everybody I've wronged, everybody that see me at my worst, I want to come on here and just to, set the energy that this is not boasting. I'm not trying to brag about no behavior that isn't conducive to what I'm doing in the public now. So I just wanted to apologize to everybody, and the best way to do it is the things that I'm doing now, and to let y'all know that I'm sincerely, regretful of the things I've done. And just wanted to start off like that.
Man, that's a great way to start off.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that because, things that we've done in our lives, the mistakes we've made in our lives. Sometimes I know when I was locked up for a long time, I used to wonder if I'll ever get to apologize,
Yeah.
Face to face, or even get to tell my mom and dad, I'm sorry for the things I've done.
Yeah.
So being able to come out and change your life and start a new life and make amends and apologize to those people that you've wronged and you've hurt, is real commendable. I really appreciate it. And,
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm curious how it was like for you when you were growing up in Modesto, California. Was there a huge Samoan community out there? Or
So it was very small, and we moved in there in like the middle 90s. I was in like around fourth grade, right? It was very small. We had a church at people's houses. That's how small it was, right? The community gets together with church gatherings, but it's so small. We're in a garage,
Yeah.
doing service or whatever. But it was very small. It was just a lot of times it was me and my brother, and so I have a twin brother. And
Okay.
it was just us, the two small kids in high school, right?
Wow.
But or the two small kids that are in any school, I like to say. But yeah, it was very small.
Wow. Huh. So growing up like that without a lot of Samoans in the community, was that hard for you as far as making friends or just feeling like you fit in? Because for me, in my experience, same thing. I grew up in a town where there wasn't really a lot of Samoans. And so I kind of got in where I fit in.
Yeah.
Was that kind of the same situation for you?
Yeah, looking back, like I didn't. I mean, looking back, I see it as it was an issue. But growing up, I kind of didn't really think about it in a sense, right? But yeah, it was rough because I was always getting misidentified. Of course,
Yeah.
they thought I was like Cambodian, or I had a best friend, right? He thought I was black all the way up to like high school.
Yeah.
I'm like, bruh. But yeah, it was you know, of course, who wouldn't want to be around the community, right? It was small. Just looking back, I look at it like, you know, I wish I had, you know, a bigger support system, you know. But maybe it worked out better for me, you know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I really can relate to that because the fact is that when I was growing up and not being around my people, I didn't speak Samoan.
Yeah.
I didn't know the culture. And so getting where I fit in, it was kind of the same thing for me. I remember dating this girl for 2 years, and she came over to my house, and my mom was on the phone. You know, she's calling back home, and she's speaking Samoan on the phone. And my girlfriend literally looked at me and was like, "Oh, your mom's speaking African?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "No, she's speaking Samoan, you know." And then she was just like, "What's that?" And I said, "That's me. I'm Samoan, you know." And then she was just like, "Well, what is it?" I said, "Well, you ever heard of Hawaiians?" She said, "Yeah." It's like that, you know what I mean? But I know
the story of my life for sure.
Yeah, I've been mixed up with Mexican people, black people, and all that. But yeah, so the identity thing can really be something that's hard to deal with growing up. I mean, at least it was for me. So was that the case for you, or no? Not really?
Yeah, it definitely has some residue with that. Yeah, just because, you know, I wanted to be around my folks. I found myself trying to fit into, like, you know, other crowds, but it also, like, it played in my favor in a sense too, because I stood out, obviously, and then it went both sides. Like, but when I got in trouble, I was the easiest to identify. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just definitely trying to fit into different groups, not finding. But now that I look at it, like, I think if I had like a group of like, let's say my people around, I think we would have been all in trouble. You know what I'm saying? I think we would have like supported all each other in whatever asset that you know, however far we want to take it. So I just look at it now like, you know, it is what it is. You know.
Man, I know exactly what you're talking about, bro. And that was something that when I was growing up, it really messed me up, you know, and I didn't get to really get in tuned or in touch with my Samoan roots until I went to prison. But
likewise.
You know, yeah.
For sure. Bro, we like the same, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I guess that's part of growing up here in Northern California, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you're in the Bay Area or San Jose, then you know, there's big Samoan communities out there. So I'm curious, you know, I want to dive into your childhood and the cultural influences a little bit, though.
Yeah.
What about with the family dynamics? You know, did you have you know, parents that spoke Samoan in the household or anything like that for you?
Yeah. So my parents, right? My parents are older. My dad was born in the 30s. You know what I'm saying? I had older parents, right? And so growing up in a place that isn't, you know, a lot of polys, right? And then older parents. And then I had brothers and sisters, but my brother, he was like my father figure. He was a little older, but you know, he was so busy with his life.
Right.
It was like a big like language barrier, bro. Like, so I literally had to figure everything out myself, like how to dress. My parents didn't know what fashion was. My parents didn't understand like these type of shoes are cool. Wear this. I'm over here wearing like hand me down. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, it was rough because like there was no like look, this is how you do it. Like,
right.
Everything was just like, what you mean? Like, look at the price. Like, that's not what we doing right now. You know what I'm saying? You know, to even I don't even recall having toys growing up. Like, so my parents were just older. So there was nobody I could really run to ask for advice, or nobody really giving me advice, right? I looked up. We'll go further in this, but that's where the music came into play. Like, that's where, you know, I feel so heavy about rap music and the certain culture, because that's what raised me, right? In a sense, right? But as far as I like to give this analogy, right? So like my house was like Samoan, right? The culture, and then when I walked outside, it's just you dealing with America. So having to come in and out, it was confusing, right? You got my parents preaching, this love, respect for other cultures and other people, right, and for ourselves. But when I come outside, these Mexican kids don't act like that, Mom.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? These black kids ain't dealing with me like how I'm supposed to deal with them, right?
Right.
So like just going back and forth with the Samoan household, traditional, and then going outside and having to try to balance out, okay, what rules apply? You know what I'm saying? What makes sense out here? Respect don't make sense out here. The respect you teaching me, they don't respect that.
They don't respect it.
You know what I'm saying? You tell me to be quiet, they think that shit weak. You know what I'm saying? Or excuse me if I'm cussing, right?
No,
But,
go ahead.
they see it as a sign of weakness. So just growing up, looking back in my early years was really me trying to figure out like, why is it so confusing? Because bro, these rules you're trying to tell me you're giving me a knife and telling me to go to a gunfight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That analogy, right? So yeah, I hope I answered your question right there.
Man, you did. Yeah. And it's crazy that you said that because again, the similarities, it's the same thing with me. My stepdad, he's already in his 50s when I was born. And so that's who I had to look up to. And my mother, she wasn't trying to teach us the Samoan culture. I don't know what her reasons were. Maybe, she was trying to give us a different type of start out here because, again, she named me after my Palangi stepdad. You see what I'm saying? So, and these are the things in our culture, which we'll dive in a little deeper about where they don't talk about certain things. And, so I'm here left wondering why I am who I am today. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I want to say, though, that I went through pretty much the same thing as you growing up. I was taught respect too, and to respect others and respect elders, so on and so on. But when I would go over to my friend's house, I'd see them cussing their parents out or whatnot. Yeah. And just life was different outside the house.
Most definitely.
And it was just a big culture shock for me. Yeah, it was.
For sure.
So I really, really understand what you were saying.
If I could paint that in one word, it'd be like confusing. Like it was
very, very confusing,
very
bro.
Confusing.
And you know what? It's damaging too.
Yeah,
it really is. Because you don't feel like you fit in anywhere. I used to call myself an alien.
Yeah.
I used to say, well, I'm just an alien because I don't feel these people here.
Yeah.
We're different.
Yeah.
But it was just because I wasn't surrounded by my own people and my culture.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. It was something like was missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
So transitioning from challenging times, like with your journey, can you walk us through some of the key moments that shaped you and who you are today?
Key moments. That's a big one. Shaped me to who I am today.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, definitely prison. Key moment. That's a big moment that shaped me to who I am today. My wife, definitely my wife. She stuck around at a time when the confusion and chaos, ran to me. So she shaped a lot of my mentality and the way I think now and the way I interact. Some other key points, having kids young. Having kids young was a big one because I was still in the madness. And then having kids, and I would like to say they were kind of like my anchor. They were kind of like I was running towards the edge of things, but like they were like kind of pulling me into like, nah, you going a little too far. You know what I'm saying? Right. So just my wife, my family. Prison shaped me. Yeah. And then I've had a couple mentors while coming up that like once I started getting like the seeds of change and like I started looking back and like, oh man, this person was like trying to help me out, this person was actually like he was there for me. Right. At a time where I didn't understand at the time. So when I started like walking towards change, these people were in the back of my head now. So I'm like, I got to do it for them. You know what I'm saying? My parents. I had a father figure named Bruce, Palangi dude. He was our neighbor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he was like the only one that was at that time when we didn't have money. He was putting us into sports, and he would take us out to eat. Me and my brothers and my whole family. So shout out to the Pardini family. So he's like a big figure. My brother. So these are the type of people that like when I go into these rooms, like they're with me. You know what I'm saying? But
wow. you know, the way you speak really deeply, you know, like you really thought about these things.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you talk about these things, it's making me realize some things as well. I had a lot of people in my life too, you know, try to sit me down and talk to me, but I was so hard headed. I was such a knucklehead.
Yeah.
That I didn't realize that they were trying to help me.
Most definitely.
Yeah, and
that shit hurts too.
It hurts.
That shit hurts.
Yeah, so I know exactly what you're feeling like.
Like I be kind of like, so like I go see Bruce. We'll call him Uncle Bruce, right?
Mm-hmm.
I go see him here and there, and then like sometimes I look at him and I just want to break down. Like
right.
Even just my parents, and when I get to thinking about it, I'll be like, damn, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, and it's a trip you said that because you mentioned kids too. I'm a father. And so I tell my kids things, you know, because I feel I'm pretty wise now. I've been through a lot.
Yeah.
But my kids, they ain't trying to hear that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, like, what do you know, Dad? You square ass.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but yeah, I tell them the same thing. I just hope that, you know, one day you're not looking back saying, I wish I would have did this. I wish it, because that's what I'm doing with my life.
I tell my kids that, watch when I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
Watch. Like I'm the perfect person to listen to right now. You know what I'm saying?
But, you know, we were kids once, and you understand that, you know, when we're caught up, we're not trying to hear all that, you know, and I think that's how life is for a lot of us, is that we have to go out and experience it, and we have to learn, and we have to fall.
Bump our head.
Yeah. So, you know, that's part of the journey, man. But when you have kids, it's like you don't want to see them go through. Like, I was 13 years old when I got locked up for the first time, and my daughter's 13 now, and I look at her and I was like, I cannot see you locked up. I can't see my son locked up. I can't see y'all. I'll be like at the edge too.
I'll be like, you ain't gonna last. The way you act, like it's rough. Like my son's 17. I had my first son when I was 16, 17 years old. So I see him, I'm like, bro, like, I can't see you with a kid, right? So I can only imagine, like, and he ain't doing half the stuff that I was doing, right?
Right.
So I can't even imagine how I looked, right? And these are the images I run from. And these are the images I, you know, like the question you asked earlier, like, what's propelling you to change? Like, it's that stuff. Like,
right.
I don't want to look like that no more.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, I just got done saying that the other day. I don't want to look like that no more.
I don't want to feel like that no more.
Feel like that,
yeah.
Man. Woo. Yeah, man, that's pretty deep. And like I said, you're really deep with your words and your feelings. And yeah, man, I really, really, really appreciate that.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah. So your journey from incarceration.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned it, and I know that you were doing firefighting and so on in there.
Yeah.
So what motivated you to take on these roles when you came home into the community, you know, to be a fireman and to go out there and work with the kids and be a teacher? Man,
so my change started in prison, right?
Yeah.
I think it happened fast, right? There was a couple of situations that happened to me early in prison, right? Mm-hmm. I was telling my wife it on the way up here. Luckily, you know, this is a situation where it started shaping my mind. Like, prison is not the place for you, bro. Like, this is not you, right? So I ended up, if we can go back a little bit, right? Yeah. There was a body dude, right, in county. So when I hit the county, I was in an all white county. I was the only Samoan again, right? The only Samoan, right, in a space, right? And so like when he came through, he was the only brown thing besides myself, right? Mm-hmm. So I felt this connection. We both looked at each other like what's up, right? And so he stayed out there. I think I was in Tuolumne County, right? So I caught my case, but he ended up staying out there, and he gets into it with no. He ends up staying out there. A guy comes in, right? He looks at me and he tells me a story of the guy, like, hey, you know, he put hands on my sister or whatever. So we had a conversation, and you know, my following self, I was like, I got you, bro, don't trip, because he's my neighbor, a white guy. And so I ended up getting on oh boy. Next morning we woke up, I go in the cell and I get on him, right? Just based off, you know, the connection I felt we had, right? So, you know, the next morning I do that, and then the next morning I see old boy, and then he's like, yeah, for sure, good looking. And then that white guy eventually comes up to me and is just like, why'd you do that? I was like, what you mean? I was like, you know what you did? And he was like, man, he has no connection to her, like, and I didn't even do what he said. right? He was like I don't even really know who that guy is. Like he knows her, but like that's my baby mother, and we just got into it. So it hit me. I was like, bruh, what am I doing? I'm fighting my case at the time. All right, and if I would have gotten in trouble in there while fighting my case, bro, they would have threw the book at me. Like, okay, you ain't learning your lesson, right? So I did that, and like it just really hit me that night. And then my prison time moving forward is like I can't move like how this prison system wants me to move. Like I have to use my head, right? So that was like the first situation in county where I was like,
aha moment.
Yeah, right. I'm like, okay, I can get lost in this shit fast. Like, like really pay attention to who you're surrounding yourself with, because I ended up seeing old boy as a body homie in Tracy when I hit DVI, and Tracy, when you first get there, you don't have nothing, right? And he sees me, and guess what he does? He just chucks the deuce at me, like, "What's up?" Like, bro, I'm like, bro, we ain't got nothing in here. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I was expecting anything,
right.
But it's like, bro, I just risked my life, my time for your little situation, right? So these are like the things that I started piling in my head, like no, bro, like the name of the game is to go home, bro. Go home, that's it. But yeah, I don't know if I overtalked that question, but
it's just that when you bring up certain things, I'm reliving in my own head as well, and it's just like I really feel what you're saying. I don't think the people that are listening who haven't been through situations like this can really get the full grasp of what you were doing and what you were going through.
Yeah.
But I do.
Yeah.
I understand completely. If you don't know Usos, we're very loyal to our friends, our family, and people we believe in. And there's no questions when it comes down to handling business. And that was something that a lot of us lived by. And what you just brought up now is a very good point about loyalty.
Yeah.
Loyalty not all the time is going to be a great thing. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely.
And people will say, well, you should have checked paperwork. You should have did all this and that. But that's not how it works, y'all.
Yeah.
I can remember a time I was standing next to my Uso, and we were in county jail, and they're pods. And we're looking through the window, and we could see the other pods.
Yeah.
And there's another Uso in the other pod. And so my Uso Tone, he's going like this. Hey, Sole, you see that guy over there on the phone? And the Uso over there, he's like, yeah. He's like, man, I don't like that food. That's all it took. The Uso went over there and smashed him right in front of us.
Horrible.
And that's not what we was expecting.
That's what happens,
we didn't let him finish.
That's what happens all the time, bro. That's crazy. You ain't like, bro. That's crazy.
So a lot of people might not understand what you was talking about, but I completely understand. I don't know what was wrong with that body. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it just goes to show that you just can't take everybody's word and take them for face value.
Man, for sure.
Because especially in a grimy place like that, you know what I mean? People are just lost.
Yeah.
And you're like, I already can tell you're a character. You really lead by your heart.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the place for you to be, because in there it's different.
Yeah.
They're grimy. So yeah. But man, that was a great story, bro. So like, I want to move on. Like I said, I didn't want to stay in the prison system and things like that. Yeah. But I want to talk more like your photography and your videography.
Yeah.
It's very impressive. And I really, really like what you're doing. I am curious as far as like your storytelling and how you use it to uplift others.
Yeah.
Is that something that you draw from your prison experience, or is that something you just happen to get a passion for all of a sudden? You know what I'm saying? Man,
so I've always been kind of a creative, right? Mm-hmm. Started off drawing at the table with moms and dad playing cards or whatever, right? And then that drawing stayed with me. Then I ended up getting into music, doing music, recording. So like naturally, like I've always been into the arts, right? Some shape or form, right? It wasn't until so I ended up going to fire camp. My last 2-3 years of prison, I left Solano and went to fire camp. and ended up becoming going to fire camp, becoming a firefighter there, and then when I paroled a firefighter. So they had a program called VTC, and I came home, checked out my family situation, and so within that first 2-3 months, me and my wife made a decision to join this program. It's a training program, right? A firefighter training program. And I ended up having things happen, right? I was over there for 6-7 months, and then my son gets sick, and I had to leave there. So that program is a commitment. You have to stay there for 18 months, Monday through Friday. You can only leave the weekends. So it's literally like, it was a big decision for my family, because like I just got out from doing 10 years.
Right.
And for me to go back into a living situation where I have to stay somewhere and
away from your family.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm being subjected to of course, like the rules and like you can't do this. And so it was rough. It was hard to go back there, but I'm glad I did. But to make a long story short, I ended up staying there for 6 months. My son gets sick. I had to leave. And I took my last check. And it's all I had at the time, right? I took my last check, and then, me and my wife were just like, what are we going to do? She's a nurse, but it wasn't really paying the bills, right? So I took that last check, and I was like, I'm just going to buy a camera. So I bought a camera. Did not know how to use it. You know what I'm saying? Didn't know nothing about it. But that's when I enrolled myself to YouTube University. You know what I'm saying? Started learning settings and different things, and then I went on my journey. I started at a low level. I started shooting food. I was pulling up to these little food events, right? And I just pull up in these people's tents and be like, "Hey, can I take pictures of your food or whatever?" And that's how I was getting my runs in. Just taking pictures of my family, and then eventually, a very important organization to me called me, and I did a photo shoot for them, and they ended up displaying my work at the San Mateo Fair. Having my own art exhibit. I was like, and that's within like 4 or 5 months of me just
with you and your camera.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's deep, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how'd that come from drawing? But
did I veer off a little bit, or
no. Yeah. So like art has always been kind of in you. You know, it's something that you've always seen. You had the eye.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, and I just want to say, shout out to your wife, because, for her to be there to support you. One thing I understand about relationships is that, I had 10 years in the prison system as well, and my wife was there for me as well. Yeah. So things like that happen for us, it's a blessing. To have someone in your corner to believe in you, it's a blessing.
For sure.
Yeah, because it's hard to get that.
It's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a double, because it's a good feeling, and I wouldn't trade it. But that stuff sucks, bro. Like it hurts. It hurts having someone that really cares for you and loves you, and then like you're transitioning. I mean, we could go crazy with this topic.
Crazy on it, I know.
But yeah, it's
the feelings you feel, the thoughts you got.
Changing. Like we could talk like changing at different paces.
Struggle.
It's crazy, bro.
It really is, bro. So kudos to your wife.
Thank you. Your
whole family, your children. That support, because that's what we need in our lives. And that's what families contact me and say, oh, my son's coming home, or my husband's coming home. They've been locked up 10, 15 years. What do I do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's a very hard question for me to answer to those families, but right there it is, man, the support. That's the major thing in ex-convict's life, or someone who has been through that type of situation, is the support. Is that it tells us that we can make it. You know what I'm saying? Because on our own, I know when it's just up to me, I'm gonna crash the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but for my kids and my wife and everybody, I step up. Your reason.
Yeah.
So looking ahead, what are some of the projects and initiatives that you're working on to uplift the Samoan community?
Man, so not just in the Samoan community. I'm like deep inside the poly community. Like poly, I even have martial students. I deal with the micro community. So like some of the projects I'm working on right now. So I'm a part of a workshop called Pacifica and Focus, right? We go in right now. We're teaching at SCDC in San Francisco, but we're teaching over there Samoan kids, PI kids, and we're teaching them media. We're teaching them photography. Me and my coworker Mena, shout out Mena. We go in there. We show them settings. We do photo walks. We do lighting techniques, just the camera basics, right? And I'm passionate about this because I'm fresh to this craft and this medium, that I want to give this to everybody, especially with my story is like when I just stumbled across the cameras and I'm able to, I could say I'm sitting in front of you right now because of the camera. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I push so hard, because it's like it put me in so many rooms. I'm looking back at everybody like, bro, this the way, bro. Pick up a camera, you know what I'm saying? But so I got Pacific and Focus, and then I'm also a part of another workshop called the Bloom Creatives, right? So that's in Sacramento, where I'm doing the same thing. I'm teaching them media. I'm showing them photography, and a lot of the curriculum that we made is catered to to the PI kids, right? Their learning style. I literally was like, look, we just gonna run, we gonna shoot, and we gonna figure it out, right? That's my style, right? So we don't go like textbook heavy on the script. So yeah, I'm part of 2 workshops, the Bloom Creatives. Shout out Epic Bloom, Grace, Bernie, and the whole Bloom team. And then also I'm shooting a documentary right now, my first documentary with this lady named Lea Fa. So in the Tonga community, she's really highly respected. She's been in the community work for a long time, so everybody knows her. I'm shooting this with a lady named Ray Ray. She's out of San Bruno. And that's a passion project of mine. I'm looking at shooting her for the next year or 2, and just gathering as much stuff I can on this lady. And what else? And then also client work that I'm doing. And what else am I doing?
I think you're just all over.
All over.
Yeah, and then just constantly learning, what I'm doing, because I don't know everything, right? I'm connecting with other creatives. I feel like I'm in a sea of like poly creatives right now, and I'm like trying to introduce myself to everybody at this point.
Right.
And it's catching on, because I'm not shy about the story. I gotta tell it, right? And I'm all around the Bay Area, shaking hands. I'm in SAC, and just preaching my passion for this camera, because it saved my life, and it's also like funding a lot of stuff that I'm doing. So, I hope that answered your question.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
How has the community been, receptive to your story?
So shout out Samoan Solutions again, right? When I was shooting food and just kind of putting myself out there, right? Friends were seeing me putting my work in, right? They were looking for a photographer, so I ended up linking with them, and they pulled me in. So from dealing with Samoan Solutions, when I did their photo shoot, they threw me into the community. So they've been known in the San Francisco community to be doing a lot of work. So they pulled me in, and they just they put me in faces and seats and on tables where like I never would have been, right? And the community embraced me. They see how I am, they see how I interact, and I just been bouncing around there doing work for everybody, really.
Man, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's like your wife said, you're literally all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to say, I tell the PI kids this all the time, like our community, like once they see you moving, they're gonna pull you in, bro. And that's what happened to me. So that's why I'm so heavy on, especially my poly kids. Like once you get in this lane, let's just talk about media. Once you get in this lane and they see you, it's a wrap. They're gonna pull you in. So I just had to say that.
Man, that's dope, man.
Yeah, it's been all love.
Yeah. Again, there's that support, right?
Yeah.
And it's lovely because what you were talking about before when you were young, the only Samoan around, and now look at you, surrounded by a whole community that supports you, and that's
what, in a sense, right? Like what I think about that too is because the longing for a community growing up, right? And then now when I'm inside my community, I think I'm different because my eyes are like like I embrace everybody like I'm just meeting my mother for the first time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's how my eyes are with community. I look around, I'll be like, oh, this is my people, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's I think that's what I give off when I'm in these spaces, and why people have gravitated to me, because my lens and the longing to be a part of something was always there. So now that I found it, now that I've been placed in it, I'm not letting go. Like, this is where I'm at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to connecting with you.
Oh, it's official.
Yeah.
Once they see this, it's over with. It's over with.
That's right. You've mentioned the importance, before, like we were talking about the stigma around surrounding incarceration.
Yeah.
We were talking about that before. How do you think society can better support individuals transitioning from incarceration to reintegration? We kind of touched on that, but, what are some other examples that you might have for people? Because again, a lot of people ask me all the time, how do we support? How do we, especially like with a guy like me that deals with PTSD. You know, I served a lot of time on the level 4s, seen a lot of violence.
Yeah.
Incarceration can just be hard, period. And coming home is really difficult in the transitioning. So how can we, support that when we come home?
Oh man, how can the community support that? I think it comes down to the person, bro. Like, I feel like we're in a space now where the community's out there. You got people reaching out. You got people wanting to help you. You got to help yourself. You know what I'm saying? The community's here already. Like, you got to talk. You got to, and this isn't just an inmate or somebody getting out. I see people now that are doing the same thing when I was home. You know what I'm saying? And these are the people that aren't talking. These are the people that aren't telling their story. These are the people that ain't putting themselves out there, right? And this is no shade, but this is what I see. So like the community, there's communities everywhere. There's pockets of people that are doing anything you could think of, right? So the person has to help themselves, right? If you don't have that, bro, you're gonna drown out here, because it's just, there's so many avenues, bro. You could be anything. You know what I'm saying? You could be anything, and if my youth are watching this, like this, I tell y'all this, like, you literally could research anything right now. Right now, you hold this iPhone in your hand, bro. You the smartest man alive right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I hold on to, is like, bro, ain't nobody can help you unless you help yourself. As cliche as that sounds, right? You gotta help yourself.
No, it's the perfect advice, and it's the advice I give too. And a lot of times people don't want to hear it. Yeah. But it's the truth, At the end of the day, no one's really going to care more about you and your passion than you. And so if you want to become a videographer or whatever, like you said, you got this computer, this supercomputer in your hand. Like, I literally can talk to somebody in Japan right now and find out what they're doing over there. So it's just up to you. Like the Uso said, you just got to step up and take care of business. If you're passionate about it, then roll with it. Don't be afraid to get out there and tell your story, because
it's a different time.
Yeah, because we need your stories out there. We really do. We need a community. We need to be able to work these issues through together. Yeah. I think it's really important what you said there, because a lot of the times I know my Usos are watching, and I know you watching, Us. You know who I'm talking to.
I see yours.
Like the Uso said, we can share our stories, and it can do so much for our communities, for our people out there. Your story is important. Every story is important. You're important. And we would love to hear from y'all out there. Real talk. And the Uso's right about what he's saying. It's a different time. We're in the day of age where, this is how we communicate, is through these phones, like literally talk to each other through our screens. And so if you're not doing that today, you're getting left behind.
Most definitely.
So yeah, hop on that. Hit me up, Oos.
Quit playing those.
All right. Well, lastly, I'm curious about your thoughts on the role of forgiveness and personal transformation. Can you share a moment where forgiveness played a significant role in your journey?
Oh man, forgiveness. I would say, like I said, right? Like, let me see. So forgiveness, right? I'm still dealing with that, to be honest, right? And it wasn't until recently, like, even reaching out to you, we had this conversation probably like months before of me coming up here, and I really think it isn't a morning you wake up where you're like, oh, I fully forgive, right? It's a process. It's literally like a journey, bro, and it's like, I think what's been helping me, right? Because, man, I had to forgive myself, bro. Like that's what it is, bro. You gotta forgive yourself first. Like my first couple years in prison, my first 5 years in prison I was ashamed, bro. I was messed up. I was messed up, right? I was like traumatized, bro, on just, on the things I've done and the victims I made. So like for me to get better and for me to impact, my wife, my family, I had to like forgive myself, bro. And that took time, bro. And what I can say about that is it takes action. Like you have to act. You can't sit here and pray. No shade to the religious community, right? But you can't sit here and just have these thoughts of like forgiveness one day, right? You have to act, bro. You have to keep moving. You have to like do actions that are gonna make you feel good about yourself. Like right now, I feel good about myself, bro. Like, and this is probably the reason why we're talking now, because before, maybe a couple months ago, maybe a year ago, I didn't forgive myself, right? But I'm doing a lot of good things now. That's making me like look at myself different. Because before it was a different story. Like I didn't realize this, right? The homie was like, well, not the homie. I was thumbing through my photos, right? Even the photos of in the visiting, and I wasn't smiling, bro.
Yeah.
And I wondered why, right? Like I used to be like, I used to wonder why, like when I get the photos back, I'm just like having this little stoic face, right? And it's because I wasn't happy with myself, bro. Like got my kids and my family in this visiting room. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's cool. We get to chill, whatever. But and Lord knows what it took, for her to get here, right? Go through all this whole process. But yeah, man, to summarize that, like I had to like sit with myself, get this time for myself, understand where I went wrong, and then I started acting and behaving differently. And then what happened then? Now that I'm doing so much good, and I realize that I'm doing good, I was able to forgive myself. Like, what, Pete? Like you doing good now. Like don't trip. You feel me? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense. And I really think that man, this is important. What you said about taking the time and really just keeping moving and things like that. Because for me, when I notice that when I'm stagnant, I get down on myself. Just the other day, I was thinking about my whole case. And, I know nobody will believe me, but, I'm not actually the guy that, killed the dude.
Yeah.
So I was there.
Yeah.
And I take full responsibility for being there.
Yeah.
And I feel like, if I wasn't there, I think about all these things, and I just wish dude was alive. That's I wish crazy. He was here to be with his family. I mean, so I carry that on me really heavy. Yeah. And forgiving myself because he, I have kids. I'm married. He had a kid. I know his kid's about the same age as my daughter. And, and it's like I get to see my kids every day. It just really kills me inside.
Yeah, most definitely.
Being a part of something like that.
Yeah.
And that wasn't my intention that night. That wasn't nothing on my mind, for this guy for that to happen to him. So on the journey of forgiveness, yes, this is kind of why I do this as well.
Yeah. That's a deep question too.
Yeah, man. I wanted to ask that.
Yeah, that's a deep, because I couldn't, and I don't know, like, I don't think of that. You know what I'm saying? But that's kind of what I came up with is.
No, that's about as real as you can get.
Yeah, that's my reality. Like
real shit.
Like doing a lot more good than what you did bad. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way you could tip the scale. And that's what I'm attempting to do. I'm just throwing bricks on the good side now, hoping it outweighs it. You feel me?
Yeah.
And right now it's kind of like it's teeter-tottering right now, right? Mm-hmm. But I just keep hoping I could just throw more bricks on my good side, right? And eventually, right? I don't know what the next level is, but just just feel really good about myself, right? I'm not there yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Every time when you wake up, man, just put that one foot in front of the other, and you'll continue to make progress. Everybody out there, I know you hearing it.
Yeah.
You know me. Y'all just got to do it. Man, thank you so much for that. And thank you for sharing your insights and experiences with us today, Pete. But before we wrap this up,
What's up?
is there anything else you'd like to share or any message you'd like to leave for our listeners today? Something from your heart or something that you wanted to share for a while?
And I just want to talk to the the person watching this, or the person just kind of on the fence about certain things. I want my story to highlight, like, it's possible, man. Like, anything is possible at this moment. Like, it's like we were talking about earlier, it's a different time, bro. Like, it's no longer you only have a couple options. It's like a buffet right now. Like, what you want to do, that idea, that thought that you've been sitting on, like, do it. You know what I'm saying? Do it. What's the worst that could happen, right? Mm-hmm. That's just that's the message I want to drive home. Is like, look at me, man. Like, within 3 years, I became a firefighter, a videographer. I'm like super involved with my community. I'm shooting a documentary. I'm doing good work, and it's only because, like, I'm just doing the work. Like, there's no other formulas. Like, you do good things happen, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, just have hope in yourself, day by day, like you said, foot by foot. Build the confidence for yourself, and eventually you're gonna be where you want to be. Just don't think too much into it either. Yeah, man, that's the message, man. If any youth watching, like, believe in yourself. Treat people good is another message I wanna drive home. Is because that shit is like a magnet. Like, you treat somebody foul, like, trust me, it's gonna catch up. Mm-hmm. Right? And it's caught up to me plenty of times, right? But treat people good. Just foot by foot, little by little, and I promise you, man, it's gonna work out.
That's right. I appreciate you sharing that with us. So if people want to get a hold of you, where can they reach you? So I mainly work off Instagram. I'm working on like the other platforms, but Petey _ 209 is my Instagram. Other than that, I'm really not that hard to find. Like, there's somebody in the community that's, like, already kind of dealing with me at the moment. But my Instagram, I guess we could drop the link right here. Yeah.
But yeah, just tap in, I guess.
For sure. Thank you. And I think that's it. And I really appreciate you coming to the show. It was an honor speaking with you. You dropped some real diamonds today. And I think that the lessons that you've learned has taught us as well. You know what I mean? So really appreciate you sharing your experiences with us.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
And so with that said, y'all know what it is. Stay the fuck out of trouble.